Hello everyone, I'm Priya and welcome back to your channel. Have you ever noticed something interesting in your trading journey? For a while you're highly motivated, you work hard on your trading, you learn new concepts, you follow your rules and stay disciplined, and then somehow, everything slowly starts slipping back to the way it was before. The same old mistakes, the same emotional decisions, and the same frustrating results. If you've experienced this, you're not alone. And that's exactly why today's lesson is so important. Today we're diving into lesson 39 from the Daily Trading Coach, titled Creating a Safe Environment for Change. In the previous lesson, we learned how repeating new behaviors and habits over and over again can eventually make them a part of who we are. But the real challenge isn't starting the change. The real challenge is maintaining that change over the long run. Very often, as soon as we begin to see a little success, we start easing up on our efforts. And before we realize it, we've drifted right back to where we started. This is one of the biggest reasons why many traders never reach their true potential. Dr. Steenbarger explains that a great coach isn't someone who becomes satisfied after seeing a little progress. A great coach creates an environment that helps progress continue and grow. And that's a principle we need to apply to our own trading as well. Now think about this for a moment. Suppose a trader says they've been trading for the last 6 months, but their results haven't improved very much. Does that automatically mean they lack talent? Not necessarily. Let's say you only take 2 or 3 trades per week, and each trade lasts just a few minutes from entry to exit. In that case, your actual learning time during the entire week might only add up to 5 or 10 minutes. Now ask yourself, can just 10 minutes of practice per week really help you improve consistently, like a professional trader? Probably not. That's why Dr. Steenbarger says, experience takes time, but practice accelerates it. In other words, experience naturally comes with time. But focused and deliberate practice can dramatically speed up the learning process. And in today's lesson, we'll explore what kind of environment can help you learn faster, improve more consistently, and turn temporary changes into lasting transformation. Let's understand this with a simple trading example. Imagine you're a swing trader, and you only get 1 or 2 high-quality setups each week. Now suppose you're trying to improve your stop-loss placement or learn how to enter trades more effectively. How many real opportunities will you get to practice that skill? Maybe once a week, sometimes not even that. Which means one small mistake could take days to understand and weeks to correct. And that's one of the hidden reasons why many traders spend months working hard, yet feel like they're barely moving forward. But what if there was a way to speed up the learning process? There is. Imagine using a chart replay tool or a paper trading simulator. Instead of waiting an entire week for one setup, you can go through multiple market situations in a single day. You can analyze chart after chart, practice entries, adjust stop losses, manage positions, and review your decisions over and over again. Within just a few hours, you might experience more trading situations than you would normally see in several weeks of live trading. And that's where real growth begins. Because improvement doesn't come only from experience, it comes from repeated focused practice. A skill that might normally take months to develop can often improve much faster when you deliberately train it. But the biggest benefit isn't just technical, it's psychological. When you're practicing in a simulator or a paper trading account, you're learning in a safe environment. An environment where mistakes don't cost you money. And that changes everything. Because when money is no longer at risk, fear becomes smaller, pressure becomes smaller, and your ability to learn becomes much greater. Instead of reacting emotionally to every mistake, you become curious about it. You stop asking, why am I so bad at this? And start asking, what can I learn from this? That's a powerful shift. Because successful traders don't become great by avoiding mistakes. They become great by learning from them faster than everyone else. Every losing trade, every poor decision, and every setback contains valuable information, feedback that helps you improve. And that's exactly why practice matters so much. Think about any high performer. A singer rehearses before stepping onto a stage. An athlete practices for countless hours before a competition. A pilot trains in simulators before flying passengers. And traders are no different. Before risking real money, they must practice their setups, their rules, and their decision-making process. So that when a real opportunity appears, they don't have to think about what to do. They already know, they simply execute the plan. Because peak performance isn't created in the heat of the moment. It's created through preparation. And the preparation for great trading always happens before the market asks you to perform. Friends, most traders think practice is only about building confidence, but that's not its biggest benefit. The real benefit of practice is that it creates a safe environment for learning, an environment where you can test new ideas, make mistakes, and improve without paying for every lesson with real money. Think about it. If every new trading concept you wanted to learn required risking your own capital, how willing would you be to experiment? Most traders wouldn't. They would play it safe. They would avoid trying new things and eventually fall back into the same habits they've always followed. That's exactly why Dr. Steenbarger emphasizes something extremely important. Whenever you want to make a change in your trading, whether it's a new setup, a different stop-loss technique, or an entirely new strategy, don't start with real money. Start with practice. Start in an environment where mistakes are educational, not expensive. That could be paper trading, a simulator, or even structured chart review. Now the question becomes, how do you actually practice? Dr. Steenbarger recommends one of the simplest yet most powerful methods available to traders: chart review. Imagine you've decided that from now on, you'll evaluate risk versus reward before entering every trade. That's a great goal, but goals don't become habits automatically. Habits are built through repetition. So open a historical chart, activate replay mode, and move forward one candle at a time. Then stop. Ask yourself, would I take this trade? Does it match my setup? Where would my stop loss be? What would my target be? Is the trend supporting my idea? And most importantly, am I following my trading rules or simply following my emotions? Now some traders might think, this seems slow. And that's exactly the point. Because when the process slows down, your thinking improves. You begin to notice details that are completely invisible during fast-moving live markets. Think about how people learn to drive. Nobody starts on a crowded highway. They begin in a safe environment, a place where mistakes won't have serious consequences. Only after building skill and confidence do they move into real traffic. Trading works the same way. Chart review is your training ground, your practice field, your driving school, a place where you can pause, analyze, make mistakes, and learn from them immediately. For example, suppose you're reviewing a 1-hour Bank Nifty chart. As each candle appears, you ask yourself, would I enter here? Where would my stop loss be? What reward am I expecting? Is this trade truly worth taking? Within a single session, you might analyze 10, 20, or even 30 different market situations. That's more decision-making practice than many traders get in weeks of live trading. And that's why deliberate practice is so powerful. It compresses experience, it accelerates learning, and it helps build the habits that eventually show up in real trading performance. Because the traders who improve year after year aren't necessarily the smartest. They're the ones who spend the most time practicing correctly. So if there's one lesson to remember from today's chapter, it's this. Don't wait for the market to teach you everything. Train before the opportunity arrives. Because no athlete becomes great during the competition. The competition only reveals how well they prepared. And trading is no different. First comes preparation, then comes performance. First comes practice, then comes results. Friends, we've talked about why a safe environment is so important for creating lasting change. But here's the real question. How do you actually build that environment? Dr. Steenbarger suggests 2 practical methods that can help you improve your trading without exposing yourself to unnecessary risk. The first method is simulated trading. And honestly, most traders underestimate how powerful this can be. Think about it. You get live market data, real price movement, real setups, and real trading decisions. But there's one thing missing, the risk of losing your money. And that changes everything. Because the moment financial pressure disappears, your mind becomes free to focus on learning. Instead of worrying about profit and loss, you start paying attention to your decisions. You begin asking better questions. Did I follow my setup? Was my entry valid? Did I manage risk correctly? What could I improve next time? And that's where growth happens. there's another advantage too. You can repeatedly practice the situations that challenge you the most. Maybe breakout trades make you nervous. Maybe volatility causes you to panic. Or perhaps you struggle to hold winning trades. In live trading, you might only encounter those situations occasionally. But in simulation, you can practice them again and again and again, until what once felt uncomfortable starts feeling familiar, and what once created fear starts creating confidence. Now let's talk about the second method, trading with reduced position size. This may sound simple, but it can completely change the way you learn. Many traders discover a new strategy, feel excited about it, and immediately try to trade it with their normal position size. Then something happens. The moment real money is involved, fear appears, doubt appears, and suddenly they abandon the very strategy they wanted to learn. Not because the strategy was bad, but because the pressure was too high. That's why Dr. Steenbarger recommends reducing your size when you're learning something new. Think of it as training wheels on a bicycle. You're still riding, you're still moving forward, but the risk of falling is much smaller. Dr. Steenbarger shares an example from his own trading. He wanted to change the way he managed profit targets. Specifically, he wanted to hold trades longer than he normally would. But he knew the change would feel uncomfortable. So instead of forcing himself to learn under full pressure, he reduced his position size by half. This allowed him to practice the new behavior without turning every mistake into a costly lesson. And as his confidence grew, he gradually increased his size again. That's an important lesson. Professional traders don't force change. They create conditions that make change easier. They make the learning process safe because they understand something most traders overlook. Confidence doesn't come first. Confidence is the result of successful practice. And that's really the heart of today's lesson. If you want to change your trading, don't start by increasing pressure. Reduce it. Use simulation. Trade smaller. Give yourself permission to learn. Because lasting improvement isn't built through stress, it's built through repetition, experience, and patience. And remember, great traders aren't created by finding a perfect strategy. They're created by continuously learning, adapting, and improving. One trade, one lesson, and one step at a time. Friends, there's another mistake that many traders make without even realizing it. They discover a new system, a new strategy, or a new way of trading and become so excited about it that after just a few successful paper trades, they immediately start trading it with large position sizes and real money. But Dr. Steenbarger warns that this is exactly where one of the biggest psychological dangers exists. Because during the early stages of learning, mistakes are completely normal. They're part of the process. And if you're taking large risks while you're still learning, even a small mistake can do serious damage to your confidence. Let's look at a real-world example. Imagine you've spent years trading only Nifty and Bank Nifty intraday. Now you've decided to start trading crude oil or commodity futures. At first glance, it may seem like you're simply trading a different instrument, but in reality, much more has changed. The volatility is different. The price behavior is different. The speed of the market is different. And in many cases, the way trades need to be managed is different as well. In other words, you're not just learning a new instrument. You're learning an entirely new trading environment. Now think about what happens if you begin taking large risks right from the start. Instead of giving you time to learn, the market may start punishing your mistakes immediately. A few poor decisions, a few unnecessary losses, and suddenly all the excitement that motivated you in the beginning is gone. That's why Dr. Steenbarger emphasizes an important principle. Every major change should begin in a safe environment. First, study the charts, then simulate the strategy. Test it under different market conditions, discover its strengths, understand its weaknesses. Only then move into the live market. And when you do, start small. As your experience grows, as your decisions become more consistent, and as your results become more reliable, gradually increase your risk. Friends, there's another powerful lesson hidden inside this chapter. At some point, every trader must become their own coach. And a good coach never expects an athlete to deliver a perfect performance on the very first attempt. A good coach gives them time to learn, time to practice, permission to make mistakes, and the opportunity to gradually develop their abilities. We need to treat ourselves the same way, because success in trading doesn't come only from making the right decisions. It comes from learning the right way. And learning the right way means not pushing your growth so aggressively that it breaks under pressure. Instead, it means progressing intelligently at a pace that can be sustained over the long term. Always remember, big changes begin with small and safe steps. And traders who truly understand this don't just become better traders. They become traders who are able to survive, adapt, and succeed for the long run. Friends, in this lesson, Dr. Steenbarger shares an idea that can completely change the speed of your learning. He says it's possible to gain 2 days of learning in a single day. At first, that sounds impossible. After all, a day only has 24 hours. So how can one day give you the experience of 2? The answer is surprisingly simple. Most traders only learn while the market is open. When the bell rings, they watch charts. They analyze setups. They make decisions. And when the market closes, their learning stops. But the traders who improve the fastest don't stop when the market closes. They continue learning long after everyone else has switched off. Think about it. Imagine you're learning a new trading strategy. During market hours, you watch opportunities develop in real time. You make decisions. You experience wins and losses. That's one learning session. Now imagine that later in the evening, you open those same charts again, using bar replay or a simulator. You go through the day one more time. You replay the setups, review your decisions, and look for the mistakes you missed the first time. Suddenly, you've doubled your exposure to the learning process. While most traders experience the market once, you experienced it twice. And that's where the advantage begins. Because improvement isn't determined only by time. It's determined by the number of quality learning experiences you create. Friends, this is where many traders unknowingly slow down their progress. The market closes, so they stop thinking about trading. The weekend arrives, and they stop reviewing charts. A holiday comes, and their development takes a holiday too. Months pass, years pass, and they wonder why their results haven't changed very much. Meanwhile, another trader is using those same evenings, those same weekends, and those same holidays to sharpen their skills, not by risking more money, but by creating more learning opportunities. And over time, that difference becomes enormous. If you study successful people in any field, you'll notice the same pattern. Athletes don't only train on competition day. Musicians don't only practice during performances. Pilots don't only learn while flying passengers. The best performers are constantly refining their skills. Trading is no different. If you want to accelerate your growth, you must become intentional about learning. Create time for it. Schedule it. Protect it. After the market closes, spend time reviewing your charts. Study your trades. Ask yourself, what did I do right today? What mistake cost me money or opportunity? What would I do differently if I face the same situation tomorrow? These simple questions, asked consistently, can transform your trading over time. Because every review session strengthens your judgment. Every review session sharpens your decision making. And every review session helps turn experience into wisdom. That's why some traders remain stuck for years, while others improve dramatically in a much shorter period. The difference isn't always talent. Often, it's simply the willingness to keep learning after everyone else has stopped. So remember this powerful idea from today's lesson. When the market closes, your opportunity to learn doesn't close with it. In many cases, the most valuable trading lessons begin after the closing bell. Friends, a serious trader studies charts even when everyone else is busy being entertained, because they understand something important. Success isn't built only while the market is open. It's also built during those hours when most people have already stopped learning. Think about it for a moment. What happens after 3 or 4 losing trades in a row? When your account slips into a drawdown? When your confidence starts to fade? What do most traders do? They distance themselves from the screen. They stop looking at charts. And for a while, they disconnect from trading completely. But Dr. Steenbarger suggests something different. He says those are the moments when you need to stay closest to the market. Because when your performance is declining, the market is often trying to teach you something. That doesn't mean you need to keep trading aggressively. It doesn't mean you need to take positions every day. But it does mean your learning process must continue. You can reduce your risk, but you can't stop learning. Friends, this is what all great performers do. Whether it's a world-class athlete, a musician, or an expert in any field, they don't see setbacks as a signal to quit. They see them as an opportunity to improve. After a loss, they don't practice less. They practice with even greater focus, discipline, and intention. And for a trader, chart replay, trade journaling, and market review are the practice fields where that improvement takes place. Dr. Steenbarger encourages traders to replay the market again and again. Study every missed opportunity, analyze every poor entry, and ask yourself what you could do better next time. Sometimes, a recorded chart can teach you lessons that no course and no book can ever fully provide. And friends, perhaps that's the most important message from this entire lesson. The trader who continues learning after losing is usually the trader who eventually wins. Because the biggest difference between successful and unsuccessful traders isn't talent, it's the ability to keep learning. If you found today's lesson valuable, be sure to like this video so more traders can benefit from it. And if you'd like to better understand trading psychology, discipline, risk management, and the mindset of consistently successful traders, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Priya Pant, and you're watching Master Trading Psychology. I'll see you in the next lesson with another powerful idea and another step forward in your trading journey. Thank you for watching.